Imagine the aroma of a spicy, succulent seafood boil wafting through your kitchen. The anticipation builds as you prepare to dive into a culinary adventure, crafting a dish that's as satisfying to make as it is to eat. The allure of fresh seafood, mingling with vibrant spices, and the joy of creating something truly delectable with your own hands. It's more than just a meal, it's an experience. So, are you ready to embark on this culinary journey? Stay tuned to discover the magic of creating your own seafood boil. Preparation starts with gathering the right ingredients. For the perfect seafood boil, you need a delicate balance of flavors, textures, and colors. Let's dive into the ingredients you'll need. The star of the show, of course, is the seafood. Go for a mix of shrimps, crabs, and clams. If you're feeling adventurous, toss in some crawfish and mussels too. Remember, the fresher, the better. Next up, the spices. This is where you can make your seafood boil truly your own. The basics are Old Bay seasoning, garlic powder, onion powder, and cayenne pepper. You'll also need a couple of bay leaves and some fresh thyme. To bring that extra kick, add in some crushed red pepper flakes. Now let's talk about the vegetables. They not only add a pop of color, but also soak up all those delicious flavors. You can't go wrong with corn on the cob and red potatoes. But don't forget the andouille sausage for a smoky punch and some whole lemons for a bit of zest. The secret to a great seafood boil is in the broth. You'll need a good quality seafood stock. Throw in a bottle of your favorite beer for some depth and sweetness. Yes, beer. It adds a unique flavor that complements the seafood perfectly. Last but not least, you'll need some good quality butter. It adds that silky, luxurious finish to your seafood boil. And of course, don't forget the salt. It's crucial to season every layer of your dish. And there you have it, folks. A list of ingredients that will make your seafood boil a hit. From the freshest seafood, a melody of spices, vibrant vegetables, a flavorful broth, to the finishing touch of butter. With these ingredients in hand, you're ready to start cooking. Selecting the freshest seafood is the key to a flavorful seafood boil. Now, let's dive into the secrets of choosing the best of the ocean's bounty. Starting with shrimp, the most popular seafood choice. Fresh shrimp should have a mild scent, almost like the ocean. If it smells like ammonia, it's a no-go. The flesh should be firm and the shells should be glossy. If you notice any black spots or the shells appear dull, it's best to skip them. Moving on to crabs, a seafood boil essential. Live crabs are always the best choice. They should be active and feisty. But if you're going for pre-cooked crabs, ensure they have a bright color and a fresh smell. Avoid crabs with any discoloration or a strong, unpleasant odor. When it comes to oysters, clams, and mussels, the rules are quite simple. They should be closed tight or should snap shut when tapped. If they remain open, it means they're not fresh. Also, avoid any shellfish with a cracked shell or a strong fishy smell. Lobsters and crawfish, the stars of a seafood boil, should always be bought alive. Look for lively, active ones. Their shells should be free of any spots or discoloration. And remember, the heavier they are for their size, the better. If you're adding fish to your boil, go for ones with clear, bright eyes and shiny scales. The gills should be a rich red, and the flesh should spring back when pressed. Now, scallops and squid might be a bit tricky. Fresh scallops should have a sweet, subtle scent and a firm, moist texture. Squid, on the other hand, should be white or light pink and should smell fresh and salty. Remember, your local fishmonger is your best friend. They can guide you and provide you with the freshest options available. And one more thing, always trust your instincts. If it doesn't look, smell, or feel right, it's probably not fresh. Armed with these tips, you're sure to pick the freshest catch of the day. Now it's time to bring all these ingredients together. We'll start by creating the flavorful broth that will give our seafood boil its signature taste. In a large pot, pour in 2 quarts of water. Add in your freshly squeezed lemon juice, making sure to toss in the squeezed halves as well. They'll infuse the broth with a delightful citrus note. Next, stir in your aromatic blend of spices, which includes 2 tablespoons each of paprika, cayenne, and fresh ground black pepper. Add in 1 whole garlic head, halved horizontally, and 2 large onions quartered. Let's not forget our 2 bags of crab boil and a cup of salt. Now, we'll bring this concoction to a rolling boil. Once it's bubbling away, it's time to add the potatoes. We're using small red potatoes here as they hold up well during the boiling process and soak up all that flavorful broth. Let them simmer for about 20 minutes until they're just fork tender. While the potatoes are getting a head start, Let's focus on our corn. Break the ears in half, then add them to the pot after the potatoes have been boiling for 10 minutes. This way, both the potatoes and corn will be perfectly cooked at the same time. Now comes the moment of truth, adding the seafood. We'll start with the items that take the longest to cook. In this case, it's our crab. Nestle those beautiful crab legs into the pot and let them cook for 5 minutes. Then add the clams, and after another 5 minutes, it's time for the shrimp. These pink beauties only need a few minutes to cook, so by the time they're done, everything else will be ready too. Once everything is cooked to perfection, strain the contents of the pot, but be sure to save some of the broth. It's liquid gold, full of flavor that you can use for dipping or drizzling over the seafood boil. Before we serve our seafood boil, there's one final step. Melt a stick of butter, add some minced garlic, and let it sizzle until it's fragrant. Pour this garlic butter all over your seafood boil. It's the secret ingredient that makes it extra delicious. Now, you're ready to lay out your feast. Spread some newspapers or a disposable tablecloth on your table, dump out your seafood boil, and gather everyone around. There's no need for plates or utensils here. This is a hands-on, messy, and incredibly fun dining experience. And there you have it, a mouth-watering seafood boil ready to be devoured. The best part about cooking is definitely the eating. And when it comes to a seafood boil, the experience is all the more delightful. You've put in the effort, you've savored the aroma. Now it's time to let your taste buds join in the fun. When you're ready to dive into your seafood boil, remember there's no wrong way to enjoy this feast. Some folks like to spread it all out on a newspaper-lined table and dig in with their hands. It's a bit messy, but it adds to the charm. Now let's talk pairings. A seafood boil and a cold drink? Now that's a match made in culinary heaven. A crisp white wine or a chilled beer can cut through the richness of the seafood, balancing the flavors and enhancing the overall experience. And don't forget the bread. A crusty baguette or some warm cornbread can be a great sidekick to your seafood boil. They're perfect for sopping up those delicious spicy juices left at the bottom of the pot. Also, remember to pace yourself. Enjoy every bite, savor every flavor. This isn't fast food, it's feast food. It's about the joy of cooking, the pleasure of eating, and the memories you make along the way. So go ahead, dig in and enjoy your homemade seafood boil. Creating a seafood boil at home isn't as daunting as it seems, is it? We've journeyed together from the selection of the freshest seafood to the mixing of the perfect spices. Step by step, we've cooked up a storm, crafting a delicious seafood boil that's sure to impress your loved ones or simply satisfy your own cravings. Remember, great cooking is all about experimentation, so don't be afraid to add your own twist. Maybe a dash of your favorite hot sauce or a sprinkle of a secret spice. We've had a great time cooking up this seafood boil, and if you've enjoyed this journey as much as we have, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. But our culinary journey doesn't end here. Oh no, we're just getting started. Next up, we're rolling up our sleeves and diving into the art of making homemade sushi. So stay tuned, and until then, happy cooking.